There are moments in life when everything seems normal on the surface, yet deep inside your spirit, something feels unsettled. An invisible pressure that cannot be explained with logic or circumstances begins to build. You wake up already tired, not because you did not sleep, but because rest no longer feels complete. Your thoughts feel heavier than usual. Your heart carries a quiet tension. Even small situations seem to demand more energy than they should. You go through your routine doing what is expected of you, speaking words of faith, maintaining composure. Yet when silence arrives and the noise fades, you feel the weight return without warning. Questions rise quietly within you, not spoken out loud but deeply felt. Why does the struggle seem persistent? Why does peace come and go? Why does every step forward feel like it awakens new resistance? Long ago, someone stood in this exact place, outwardly stable yet inwardly weary. They had endured before, prayed before, trusted before, but the pressure kept returning in cycles, each time slightly heavier than before. Until one night something changed. Not the situation, not the circumstances, but the question they asked. Instead of asking why the battle continued, they asked for intervention, not explanation, not clarity, but alignment. And in that moment, something unseen began to shift, because there are battles that cannot be understood before they are confronted. And there are seasons where understanding is not the key, position is. What many people do not realize is that spiritual pressure rarely announces itself loudly. It works quietly, persistently, through repetition, through emotional fatigue, through delays that stretch patience thin, through thoughts that feel heavier than the situation itself. This does not mean something is wrong with you. It often means something important is being contested. Darkness does not resist what carries no purpose. It resists what holds destiny. It pushes hardest against what threatens its influence, which is why resistance often intensifies right before clarity arrives, why opposition grows stronger when direction begins to form, and why the weight feels most unbearable just before release. The moment you are in now is not accidental. The fact that you are here listening is already part of the alignment taking place. You are not standing on uncertain ground. You are standing at the edge of awareness, where endurance begins to give way to authority. This is not a moment of fear, it is a moment of position, a moment where the soul stops striving and begins to stand, where the heart recognizes that it was never meant to fight alone, and where faith prepares to move from silent endurance into quiet but unshakable confidence. Many people assume that pressure means they are failing, but pressure is often evidence of proximity. Proximity to breakthrough, proximity to clarity, proximity to a shift that cannot be reversed once it begins. When resistance appears without explanation, it is often because something is about to be released that cannot coexist with disorder. Pressure is not punishment. It is preparation, and preparation is never comfortable. But it is always intentional. The unseen realm does not operate randomly. It responds to purpose, calling, alignment, which is why cycles attempt to repeat, why familiar struggles return wearing new forms, and why peace is challenged just as clarity begins to surface. These patterns are not coincidences, they are strategies, and strategies are designed to delay rather than destroy. Delay exhausts hope. Delay creates doubt. Delay convinces the heart that nothing is happening when in truth everything is being contested beneath the surface. This is why ancient prayers were never written as comfort alone, but as instruments. They were designed not just to soothe the soul, but to move heaven into action, to restore order where disorder attempted to settle, to establish authority where confusion tried to reign, and to draw clear boundaries that darkness could not cross. Throughout history, those who understood this did not pray timidly. They did not approach heaven as if uncertain of its willingness to respond. They prayed with clarity, urgency, conviction, not panic but alignment. They understood that justice does not need persuasion. It needs permission. When alignment is restored, intervention becomes inevitable. Heaven does not hesitate when truth is spoken in agreement with its will. It responds. There are moments when life feels less like a battlefield and more like a courtroom. Accusations arise without confrontation. Narratives form without your participation. Words are spoken against you that you never hear directly, yet you feel their impact. In moments like these, emotional reactions offer no protection. As pressure continues, many people begin to question themselves instead of the season they are in. They assume something must be wrong with their faith, their choices, or their worth. But pressure is rarely a sign of failure. It is more often a sign of proximity. Proximity to change, proximity to clarity, proximity to a shift that cannot remain hidden much longer. The unseen realm does not react randomly. It responds to alignment, purpose, and direction, which is why resistance often increases precisely when movement is about to occur. There is a pattern that repeats itself throughout spiritual history. Whenever progress threatens darkness, opposition attempts to slow it down, not always by stopping it completely, but by exhausting the one carrying it. Delay is one of the most effective weapons used against purpose, because delay quietly erodes confidence, stretches patience thin, and convinces the heart that nothing is happening, when in truth everything is being contested beneath the surface. This is why ancient prayers carry urgency without panic. They speak from confidence, not desperation. They recognize that there are moments when endurance must be paired with authority. Endurance allows you to survive the season. Authority allows you to change it. Both are necessary, but they serve different purposes. Endurance keeps you standing. Authority shifts what stands against you. Many people remain stuck because they endure everything but confront nothing. They survive pressure but never challenge the source of it. But there comes a moment when the soul must move from passive endurance into intentional alignment, not aggressive, not emotional, but deliberate. When this shift happens, the atmosphere begins to respond, not immediately in visible ways, but internally first. Fear begins to lose its grip, confusion loses its urgency, and the constant sense of pressure begins to loosen. This is not imagination. It is the result of position changing. When position changes, leverage changes. And when leverage changes, resistance weakens. Life often feels like a sequence of reactions until this point, reacting to delays, reacting to opposition, reacting to disappointment. But alignment ends reaction. It introduces response, and response carries authority. Authority does not rush, it does not panic, and it does not beg for validation. It stands, and standing alone shifts more than frantic effort ever could. Many misunderstand spiritual authority, assuming it must be loud, dramatic, or forceful, but true authority is calm, steady, and unshaken. It does not need to announce itself because it is rooted in certainty, and certainty cannot be intimidated. When authority enters a situation, resistance may not collapse instantly, but it begins to destabilize. Confusion sets in, momentum falters, and what once felt organized begins to lose structure. This is how unseen intervention often begins, quietly dismantling what once appeared solid. Exposure plays a critical role in this process. What operates in secrecy loses strength when truth enters the picture. Not truth meant to shame, but truth that restores order. Exposure does not exist to humiliate, it exists to liberate. And when liberation begins, control ends. This is why opposition resists exposure so fiercely. Not because it is strong, but because it is vulnerable to truth. You may have noticed sudden changes in relationships, unexpected closures, or interruptions that felt inconvenient at the time, but those moments often serve as protection long before they feel like progress. They remove access before damage can occur. They redirect paths before harm takes root. They feel uncomfortable because they interrupt familiarity, but familiarity is not always safety. Sometimes familiarity is the very thing keeping growth stalled. When alignment begins to take hold, comfort is challenged, not to punish, but to prepare. Many people confuse discomfort with danger. But discomfort often precedes development. It stretches capacity, expands perception, and creates space for something stronger to take shape. There comes a point when the heart must stop explaining itself. Explanation drains energy meant for alignment. Defense drains focus meant for clarity, and justification delays progress. When justice is engaged, explanation becomes unnecessary. Outcomes speak louder than arguments. Peace replaces urgency, and confidence replaces anxiety. This internal shift signals that intervention is already in motion, even if circumstances have not yet caught up. Peace is often the first visible sign of an unseen victory. It arrives quietly, settles deeply, and stabilizes the heart before any external change takes place. Many people wait for external confirmation before allowing themselves to feel peace. But peace is not granted by circumstances. It is restored by alignment. When peace returns unexpectedly, it is often because the battle has already shifted direction, and what once pushed against you is losing leverage. Repetition is another sign worth understanding. When cycles attempt to repeat themselves, it is not because you are failing, it is because something has not yet been confronted at the root. Surface solutions offer temporary relief, but alignment addresses the source, which is why true change often feels slower at first but lasts longer. You may feel like progress is subtle, but subtle progress is often the most stable. It does not draw attention, but it does not collapse either. Stability is one of the greatest threats to opposition. Panic feeds resistance, but steadiness weakens it. A grounded heart cannot be easily manipulated. When you are no longer driven by urgency, you become difficult to control. Urgency forces reaction, but stability allows discernment, and discernment changes outcomes. This does not mean challenges will never arise again, but it means they will no longer dominate your internal world. They may appear, but they will not settle. They may attempt pressure, but they will not dictate direction. As alignment continues to deepen, you may notice that your reactions change. Things that once triggered anxiety now feel manageable. Situations that once felt overwhelming now feel navigable. This is not because the situations changed, but because you did. Growth often reveals itself not in what disappears, but in how you respond. And response is the clearest indicator of authority. You are no longer fighting every battle. You are choosing which ones require engagement, and that choice alone preserves strength. This is maturity taking shape. Maturity that understands that not every challenge deserves attention. Some lose power simply by being ignored. Relevance is one of the enemy's greatest tools, and when something loses relevance, it loses influence. This is why inner clarity is so important. Clarity filters distractions, sharpens focus, and protects peace. When clarity increases, noise decreases, and when noise decreases, direction becomes clear. You may not yet see every detail of what lies ahead, but you no longer need to. Trust has begun to replace fear, and trust allows movement even when visibility is limited. This is not blind faith. It is informed confidence built through survival, endurance, and experience. You have already walked through seasons you once believed would break you, yet you are still here, standing, aware and moving forward. That memory alone strengthens confidence because it proves resilience is already part of your story. The future no longer feels like a threat waiting to happen. It begins to feel like open space. Space for growth, space for restoration, space for purpose, and space invites movement rather than fear. As alignment stabilizes, momentum returns naturally, not forced, not frantic, but steady. What once felt blocked begins to loosen, not because pressure increased, but because resistance lost authority. This is how progress sustains itself over time, not through intensity, but through consistency. Consistency anchored in trust, direction anchored in clarity, and movement anchored in peace. And as this foundation strengthens, it prepares you for what comes next without strain, without fear, and without exhaustion. Because what is aligned does not require force to progress. It unfolds naturally, steadily, and with intention. As time passes and alignment continues to deepen, many people begin to notice that the battle itself starts to feel different. Not because resistance has completely disappeared, but because it no longer dominates their inner world. There is a subtle yet powerful shift that takes place when authority replaces urgency. Urgency demands immediate answers. Authority remains steady even when answers are still forming. This distinction changes everything. When urgency leads, fear has influence. When authority leads, fear loses its leverage. Many people spend years reacting to pressure without realizing that reaction itself is what sustains exhaustion. Reaction keeps the nervous system alert. Reaction keeps the mind racing. Reaction keeps the heart braced for impact. But alignment interrupts reaction. It introduces response, and response carries intention rather than impulse. There is a reason true spiritual strength is often described as stillness rather than force. Stillness does not mean inactivity, it means stability. Stability is the condition where movement is no longer dictated by fear. When stability is restored, the mind becomes clearer, emotions become regulated, and decisions become deliberate. This is not weakness, it is maturity. Maturity understands that power does not need to rush to prove itself. It stands firm and allows outcomes to unfold in their proper time. Many people underestimate how deeply prolonged pressure affects perception. When someone lives under constant resistance, they begin to interpret every delay as failure, every silence as abandonment, and every obstacle as confirmation that something is wrong. But alignment corrects perception. It restores perspective. It reminds the heart that not everything delayed is denied, and not everything resisted is lost. Some things are simply being protected until they can be received without harm. This is why seasons of pressure often precede seasons of expansion. Expansion without stability collapses under its own weight. Growth without grounding leads to burnout. Alignment ensures that what comes next will last rather than overwhelm. You may not feel excitement yet, but you may feel steadiness, and steadiness is far more valuable. Excitement fades quickly. Stability remains. There is also a profound shift that happens when the need to defend yourself begins to dissolve. Many people expend enormous energy trying to explain themselves, justify their decisions, or correct misunderstandings. But explanation drains strength. Defense drains focus. Alignment eliminates the need for both. When position is secure, outcomes speak louder than arguments. Peace replaces urgency. Confidence replaces anxiety. Silence becomes powerful rather than threatening. This is often when clarity begins to surface in unexpected ways. Decisions that once felt complicated become simpler. Paths that once felt confusing begin to make sense. Not because every detail is revealed, but because direction becomes clear. Direction does not require full visibility, it requires alignment. When direction is clear, movement becomes natural. You may begin to notice that certain things no longer disturb you the way they once did. Words that once carried weight now pass without impact. Situations that once triggered fear now feel manageable. This does not mean you have become indifferent. It means you have become anchored. Anchoring changes how pressure is experienced. Storms may still pass overhead, but they no longer uproot what is firmly grounded. This is one of the clearest signs that authority is settling in. Authority does not eliminate challenges. It changes how challenges are processed. Instead of overwhelming the heart, challenges become information. Instead of triggering panic, they invite discernment. Instead of causing paralysis, they prompt measured action. Another important shift occurs when the future no longer feels like a threat. For a long time, many people live anticipating loss, expecting disruption, and bracing for disappointment. This anticipation quietly shapes decisions, limits risk, and restricts growth. Alignment dismantles this pattern. It restores trust in timing, trust in process, trust in movement. When trust returns, the future becomes space rather than danger. Space invites growth. Danger invites retreat. You are not meant to navigate life constantly preparing for impact. You are meant to move forward with discernment and peace. Peace does not mean the absence of challenges. It means the presence of confidence. Confidence rooted not in circumstances but in alignment. As this confidence grows, momentum begins to return. Not frantic momentum driven by fear of falling behind, but steady momentum guided by clarity. This kind of momentum does not exhaust, it sustains. It allows progress without pressure, growth without strain, movement without anxiety. This is where many people realize that the hardest part of the journey is already behind them, not because everything is resolved, but because they are no longer fighting themselves. Internal resistance has dissolved, self-doubt has weakened, fear has lost its authority, and when the internal battle ends, the external battle follows. What you are experiencing now is not stagnation, it is consolidation. Consolidation strengthens foundations, it integrates lessons, it prepares the structure to support what comes next. Without consolidation, progress collapses. With consolidation, progress endures. Remain present in this phase. Do not rush it. Do not underestimate it. What feels quiet is powerful. What feels slow is deliberate. What feels subtle is stable. Alignment is completing its work, and what comes after will not require the same level of struggle you once endured, because you are no longer moving from fear, but from position. As alignment continues to settle more deeply, there is often a growing awareness that life itself is no longer approaching you as an adversary, but as a process unfolding with intention. This realization alone can feel disorienting at first, because for so long you may have learned how to function under pressure, how to stay alert, how to anticipate disruption, and how to brace yourself emotionally for what might go wrong next. When that constant tension begins to loosen, it can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. Unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. It simply means you are entering a different rhythm. A rhythm where trust begins to replace vigilance. A rhythm where steadiness replaces urgency. Many people do not realize how much of their energy has been spent simply preparing for impact, scanning for danger, or managing anxiety rather than actually living. Alignment gently interrupts this pattern, not by forcing you to relax, but by creating an internal environment where fear no longer has authority. When fear loses authority, the body responds. Breathing deepens, the mind slows, the heart feels less guarded. This physiological shift is not separate from spiritual alignment, it is evidence of it. Peace is not only emotional, it is systemic. It regulates how you experience reality itself. As peace stabilizes, you may notice that your reactions soften, not because you care less, but because you are no longer controlled by pressure. Situations that once demanded immediate emotional response now invite thoughtful consideration. This change alone preserves enormous energy, energy that can now be redirected toward growth, clarity, and purpose rather than survival. Many people confuse intensity with importance. They believe that if something feels heavy, it must be significant. Significance is not measured by weight, it is measured by alignment. What is aligned does not always feel urgent, it feels clear. Clarity is far more powerful than urgency. Urgency narrows vision, clarity expands it. Urgency forces reaction, clarity allows choice. Choice restores agency. This is why the season you are entering feels quieter on the surface, but stronger beneath it. You are no longer being driven by what demands attention the loudest. You are being guided by what aligns most deeply with purpose. This shift often leads to a re-evaluation of priorities. Things that once consumed your focus begin to lose relevance, not because they resolved, but because they no longer define you. Relevance is a source of power. When something loses relevance, it loses influence. Alignment changes what feels relevant. It filters distractions. It sharpens discernment. It protects peace. As discernment increases, you may begin to recognize patterns you once overlooked. Patterns in behavior, patterns in timing, patterns in relationships, patterns in decisions. This awareness is not meant to create judgment. It is meant to create wisdom. Wisdom allows you to move forward without repeating cycles unnecessarily. It helps you recognize when something is familiar but no longer beneficial. It helps you recognize when something new is uncomfortable but necessary. This discernment is one of the greatest gifts that emerges from prolonged endurance. Endurance trains perception. It teaches you to notice subtleties. It teaches you to recognize shifts. It teaches you to sense alignment even before evidence appears. As this discernment matures, you may notice that your confidence becomes quieter, less performative, less dependent on external affirmation. You no longer need constant reassurance that you are on the right path. The steadiness itself becomes confirmation. This kind of confidence does not fluctuate with circumstances. It remains consistent because it is anchored internally rather than externally, anchored in trust rather than outcome, anchored in alignment rather than control. Control often disguises itself as responsibility. True responsibility does not require constant tension. It requires clarity. When clarity is present, responsibility becomes sustainable rather than exhausting. You begin to understand that you are not responsible for controlling outcomes. You are responsible for remaining aligned as outcomes unfold. This understanding releases enormous pressure that was never meant to be carried by you. Many people carry guilt for things that were never theirs to fix, blame for situations they did not cause, responsibility for outcomes they could not control. Alignment gently removes these burdens, not by denying reality, but by restoring order. When order is restored, each responsibility returns to its proper place. The heart is no longer overloaded. As this restoration continues, you may begin to feel a renewed sense of presence in conversations, presence in decisions, presence in moments that once felt rushed past. Presence allows you to experience life rather than simply endure it. Experiencing life is essential for growth. Growth does not occur in constant survival mode. It occurs when there is space to reflect, integrate, and respond. This is why seasons of consolidation are as important as seasons of movement. Consolidation allows lessons to settle. It allows identity to stabilize. It allows purpose to clarify. Without consolidation, progress becomes fragile, easily shaken by the next challenge. With consolidation, progress becomes resilient, capable of withstanding pressure without collapsing. This resilience does not make you rigid. It makes you adaptable without being reactive, flexible without being unstable, strong without being harsh. This balance is rare and valuable. It is being cultivated within you now, even if you do not yet see the full extent of what it will support in the future. The future itself may begin to feel different as this alignment deepens, not like a looming threat, but like an open landscape. Open space can feel intimidating at first, especially if you are accustomed to constant obstacles. Openness is not emptiness, it is opportunity. Opportunity to move with intention rather than urgency. Opportunity to choose direction rather than react to pressure. Opportunity to build something lasting rather than simply survive another season. Trust yourself in this phase, not because you have all the answers, but because you have already proven your ability to endure, adapt, and grow. The path ahead does not require perfection, it requires presence. Presence allows alignment to guide each step as it unfolds, one moment at a time, without haste, without fear, without the weight you once carried. As this alignment continues to mature, there is often a quiet realization that you are no longer measuring your life by moments of relief, but by depth of stability. Stability becomes the new reference point, not because challenges have vanished, but because they no longer dictate your internal state. You begin to notice that your emotional responses are no longer extreme. Highs feel grounded, lows feel manageable. This balance is not accidental. It is the result of trust taking root where fear once dominated. Trust changes how you interpret experiences. Instead of asking whether something will break you, you begin to ask what it is shaping within you. This shift alone transforms pressure into purpose. Purpose does not rush, purpose unfolds, and unfolding requires patience, presence, and alignment. Many people believe they must constantly push themselves forward to avoid falling behind. But alignment teaches you that forcing movement often creates resistance, while steady movement dissolves it. When you move in alignment, effort becomes lighter, decisions become clearer, and timing feels less hostile. You begin to sense when to act and when to wait, not from hesitation, but from discernment. Discernment protects energy. It prevents unnecessary battles. It preserves focus. It allows you to invest yourself where growth is actually taking place rather than where noise is loudest. As discernment deepens, you may begin to notice that your definition of success begins to change. Success is no longer measured solely by visible outcomes. It is measured by peace maintained, clarity sustained, and consistency preserved. This does not diminish ambition, it refines it. Ambition guided by alignment becomes purposeful rather than exhausting. It seeks progress without sacrificing stability. It values longevity over intensity. As this season continues to unfold, you may begin to realize that the greatest change is not happening around you, but within you. The way you process information is different. The way you interpret silence is different. The way you approach uncertainty is different. Where uncertainty once felt threatening, it now feels neutral, even informative. This shift is subtle, but it is foundational. When uncertainty no longer triggers fear, it loses its power to control decisions. Decisions made from fear tend to be rushed, defensive, or reactive. Decisions made from clarity are measured, intentional, and sustainable. This difference reshapes the direction of your life more than any single event ever could. You are no longer living from reaction to reaction. You are living from alignment. Alignment does not eliminate complexity. It gives you the capacity to navigate it without losing balance. Balance is not the absence of tension. It is the ability to remain steady while tension exists. This steadiness allows you to stay present rather than overwhelmed. Presence changes how you experience time. Moments no longer feel like obstacles to survive. They feel like opportunities to engage. Engagement brings meaning. Meaning brings motivation. Motivation that is rooted in clarity does not burn out quickly. It endures. You may notice that you are less preoccupied with outcomes and more attentive to process. This does not mean you care less about results. It means you understand that results are shaped by consistency more than intensity. Consistency thrives in stability. Stability thrives in alignment. This cycle reinforces itself over time. The longer you remain aligned, the more natural consistency becomes. The more consistent you become, the more reliable your progress feels. Reliability builds confidence. Confidence reduces fear. Fear reduction increases clarity. This is how alignment compounds. Many people look for dramatic breakthroughs because they believe transformation must be visible to be real, but lasting transformation is often quiet. It integrates rather than explodes. It strengthens rather than shocks. It settles rather than overwhelms. You are experiencing this kind of transformation now. It may not draw attention, but it will support everything that comes next. As clarity deepens, you may find yourself revisiting past experiences with a new perspective. Events that once felt confusing begin to make sense. Not because the pain disappears, but because meaning emerges. Meaning does not justify harm, it redeems it. It allows you to extract wisdom without remaining bound to the wound. This extraction frees energy that was previously locked in rumination, energy that can now be redirected toward creation, connection, and growth. Growth feels different in this season. It is not frantic, it is steady. It does not demand constant validation. It unfolds naturally. You may notice that your capacity to focus has increased. Distractions that once pulled your attention easily now feel less compelling. Focus is a direct result of alignment. When purpose is clear, attention follows. When attention follows, progress accelerates without added strain. This acceleration does not feel rushed, it feels efficient. Efficiency is often misunderstood as pressure, but true efficiency reduces pressure. It eliminates unnecessary effort, it streamlines decision-making, it clarifies priorities. You begin to invest your time and energy more intentionally. You say yes with purpose, you say no with confidence. Boundaries become clearer. Boundaries protect alignment. They are not walls, they are guidelines. Guidelines that preserve clarity and prevent depletion. As boundaries strengthen, you may notice an increased sense of freedom. Freedom not from responsibility, but from unnecessary burden. Responsibility becomes lighter when it is shared appropriately and carried with clarity. You are learning to distinguish between what requires your involvement and what does not. This discernment prevents overextension. Overextension often masquerades as commitment, but true commitment is sustainable. Sustainability is one of the clearest signs of alignment. You are no longer sacrificing long-term stability for short-term urgency. This shift changes how you plan, how you work, and how you relate to others. Relationships may begin to feel more balanced. You listen without absorbing. You support without rescuing. You engage without losing yourself. This balance allows connection to deepen without becoming draining. As this balance becomes more natural, you may notice an increased sense of gratitude. Not forced gratitude meant to mask difficulty, but genuine appreciation for clarity, for growth, for peace that has been hard-earned. Gratitude reinforces alignment. It grounds you in the present, rather than pulling you into fear of the future or regret of the past. The present moment becomes sufficient, not because everything is perfect, but because you are equipped to meet it. This sense of sufficiency is deeply stabilizing. It quiets the constant urge to chase reassurance. It allows you to trust your capacity to respond to whatever arises. This trust does not make you passive, it makes you responsive. Responsiveness is flexible, it adapts, it learns, it adjusts, it does not collapse under change. As responsiveness increases, resilience strengthens. Resilience is not about never being affected, it is about recovering without losing direction. You recover more quickly now, you recalibrate more easily, you return to center without prolonged struggle. This is alignment expressing itself through lived experience. You are not merely understanding alignment conceptually, you are embodying it. Embodiment changes everything. It turns ideas into habits, habits into identity, identity into direction. Direction shapes destiny over time. What you are building now is not just a season of peace. It is a framework for how you will move through future seasons, a framework rooted in clarity rather than fear, in trust rather than control, in steadiness rather than urgency. This framework will support you long after this moment has passed. It will guide decisions when pressure returns. It will anchor you when uncertainty arises. It will remind you of who you are when circumstances attempt to distract you. This is why this season matters. It is not a pause, it is preparation. Preparation for movement that will not exhaust you. Preparation for growth that will not overwhelm you. Preparation for purpose that will not require you to abandon peace. And as this preparation continues, you can move forward without haste, without fear, and without carrying the weight you once believed was necessary to survive. As this internal framework continues to solidify, you may begin to notice that your sense of identity feels less fragile and more grounded. You are no longer defining yourself primarily by what you overcome, but by how you remain steady through change. This shift is subtle, yet it reorders priorities at a fundamental level. When identity stabilizes, comparison loses its grip. You no longer measure your progress against the pace or path of others. You recognize that alignment does not operate on competition, but on timing. Timing restores patience. Patience restores clarity. Clarity restores confidence. This sequence unfolds naturally when pressure no longer dictates movement. You may notice that your inner urgency has softened, not because ambition has faded, but because ambition has matured. Mature ambition is not frantic. It does not rush to prove itself. It commits to progress without sacrificing stability. This kind of ambition sustains effort over long periods without depletion. It understands that momentum built on fear collapses quickly, while momentum built on trust endures. As trust deepens, you may feel more comfortable with incomplete information. You no longer need every variable resolved before taking the next step. You trust that clarity will continue to reveal itself as you move. This trust does not eliminate caution. It replaces paralysis with discernment. Discernment allows you to act when action is needed and wait when waiting is wise. Waiting no longer feels like stagnation. It feels like preparation. Preparation strengthens foundation. Foundation supports expansion. Expansion without foundation leads to instability. But expansion rooted in alignment becomes sustainable growth. You are being prepared not just for movement, but for responsibility. Responsibility carried without alignment becomes burden. Responsibility carried with alignment becomes purpose. You may begin to sense that future opportunities will require greater capacity, greater discernment, and greater emotional regulation. This season is equipping you for that. You are learning how to remain centered when demands increase, how to maintain clarity when complexity rises, how to preserve peace when expectations multiply. These skills are rarely learned in comfort. They are developed through seasons like this one, seasons where pressure existed long enough to teach endurance, but not long enough to destroy balance. As balance becomes more familiar, your reactions continue to change. You pause more often before responding. You listen more attentively. You choose words more deliberately. These changes may seem small, but they compound over time. Small adjustments in response lead to significant changes in outcome. Outcomes shape experience. Experience reinforces belief. Belief influences behavior. This is how internal alignment reshapes external reality gradually but consistently. You may also notice that your tolerance for unnecessary conflict has diminished, not because you avoid truth, but because you recognize when engagement will not lead to growth. Disengagement, when chosen wisely, is not weakness. It is conservation. Conservation of energy, conservation of focus, conservation of peace. Peace preserved allows insight to deepen. Insight guides action. Action taken with insight produces cleaner results. Results that do not require repair afterward. This efficiency frees space for creativity and innovation. Creativity often returns when pressure lifts, not the forced creativity born from urgency, but the organic creativity born from clarity. Ideas begin to flow without strain. Solutions appear without panic. Connections form without manipulation. This flow is one of the clearest signs that alignment is active. Flow does not mean absence of effort, it means effort applied in the right direction. When direction is clear, effort multiplies impact. Impact does not need to be dramatic to be meaningful. Meaningful impact often unfolds quietly. It builds trust. It establishes credibility. It strengthens foundation. As foundation strengthens, confidence deepens. Confidence does not need affirmation to exist. It simply remains. This confidence influences how others respond to you. People sense steadiness, they sense clarity, they sense reliability. Reliability builds trust. Trust opens doors that force cannot. You may find that opportunities begin to appear without pursuit. Invitations arrive without striving. Alignment attracts what effort alone cannot secure. This does not remove responsibility, it refines it. You still act, you still prepare, you still commit, but you do so without desperation. Desperation repels clarity. Alignment invites it. As this season continues, you may find yourself more selective. Selective with commitments, selective with relationships, selective with time. This selectivity is not exclusionary, it is intentional. Intention protects sustainability. Sustainability ensures longevity. Longevity allows purpose to mature fully rather than burn out prematurely. You are no longer rushing toward outcomes. You are walking toward integration. Integration of lessons learned, integration of strength gained, integration of peace restored. This integration stabilizes identity. Stabilized identity supports consistent direction. Consistent direction shapes a life that is not easily shaken. This is not rigidity, it is resilience. Resilience that bends without breaking. Resilience that adapts without losing center. Resilience that moves forward without carrying unnecessary weight. As this resilience strengthens, the future feels less like something to brace for and more like something to prepare for. Preparation replaces fear. Preparation invites confidence. Confidence supports action. Action guided by alignment produces outcomes that do not require constant correction. You are entering a phase where refinement matters more than speed, precision matters more than volume, depth matters more than visibility. These values may feel unfamiliar in a world driven by urgency, but they are essential for lasting impact. Lasting impact is not built quickly, it is built intentionally, and intention thrives in alignment. You are learning how to honor this process without resisting it, how to trust it without forcing it, how to walk within it without losing yourself. This is the work of this season. Quiet, deep, transformative, and it is far from finished. As this refinement continues, you may begin to sense that your relationship with effort itself is changing. Effort no longer feels like strain, it feels like contribution. There is a difference between forcing progress and participating in it. For a long time, many people confuse effort with struggle, believing that growth must be painful to be legitimate. But alignment reveals a different truth. Growth can be demanding without being destructive. It can require focus without consuming peace. This realization alone releases a significant amount of internal pressure. You are no longer measuring your worth by how much you endure, but by how well you remain aligned while moving forward. This shift changes motivation. Motivation driven by fear demands constant reinforcement. Motivation driven by alignment sustains itself. It does not rely on urgency, it relies on purpose. Purpose provides direction when energy fluctuates. It keeps movement consistent even when enthusiasm fades. This consistency is what allows progress to accumulate over time rather than reset repeatedly. You may notice that your tolerance for chaos continues to decrease, not because life becomes perfectly ordered, but because you no longer normalize disorder internally. You recognize when something disrupts alignment and you respond accordingly. Response does not always mean confrontation. Sometimes it means adjustment, sometimes it means release, sometimes it means patience. This flexibility is not indecision, it is wisdom in motion. Wisdom understands that not every disruption requires immediate resolution. Some resolve naturally when alignment is maintained. As wisdom guides response, emotional regulation strengthens further. Emotions no longer hijack decisions, they inform them. Information is useful when it is processed calmly. Calm processing allows discernment to function properly. Discernment protects direction. Direction preserves momentum. This sequence becomes increasingly familiar as alignment stabilizes. You are learning to trust it. Trust simplifies choices. Simplified choices reduce fatigue. Reduced fatigue preserves clarity. Clarity supports sustainable action. Sustainability becomes a defining value in this season. You are no longer interested in progress that costs peace. You recognize that anything requiring constant inner conflict to maintain is not aligned. This recognition saves time, energy, and emotional investment. It allows you to focus on what can grow without draining you. As this focus sharpens, you may experience a renewed sense of confidence in decision-making. Decisions feel less heavy, not because they are insignificant, but because you trust your ability to navigate their outcomes. This trust reduces hesitation. Reduced hesitation increases flow. Flow does not eliminate challenges, it changes how you engage with them. Instead of bracing for resistance, you move through it with adaptability. Adaptability is one of the most practical expressions of alignment. It allows you to adjust without losing direction. It allows you to learn without losing confidence. It allows you to evolve without losing identity. Identity remains intact because it is no longer dependent on external approval or immediate success. It is anchored internally. Anchored identity does not need constant reinforcement, it simply operates. This operational stability influences how you show up in the world. You become more reliable, more present, more consistent. Consistency builds trust in others. Trust strengthens relationships. Stronger relationships create healthier environments. Healthier environments support continued growth. This ripple effect often unfolds quietly. You may not notice it immediately. Others may notice before you do. They sense steadiness. They sense clarity. They sense an absence of unnecessary urgency. This absence is not laziness. It is composure. Composure allows you to handle complexity without becoming overwhelmed. Overwhelm narrows perspective. Composure expands it. Expanded perspective reveals options that were previously invisible. Options increase agency. Agency restores confidence. Confidence stabilizes movement. This cycle reinforces alignment further. As alignment deepens, you may begin to experience a subtle but persistent sense of sufficiency. Sufficiency does not mean everything is complete. It means you are equipped for the moment you are in. Equipped people do not rush, they prepare. Preparation replaces panic. Panic dissipates when trust is present. Trust allows patience. Patience allows precision. Precision improves outcomes. Improved outcomes reduce the need for correction. Reduced correction preserves energy. Energy preserved can be invested intentionally. Intentional investment accelerates meaningful progress. Meaningful progress feels satisfying without being addictive. It does not demand constant escalation. It invites depth. Depth strengthens foundation. Foundation supports expansion. Expansion becomes possible without strain. You are gradually learning to operate from this place. It may feel unfamiliar at times. Familiarity will grow with practice. Alignment, like any discipline, strengthens through consistent application. Each aligned decision reinforces the next. Each moment of clarity makes future clarity easier to access. Each experience of peace makes future peace easier to trust. This is how alignment becomes a way of life rather than a temporary state. You are not passing through this season accidentally. You are being trained by it, trained to move with intention, trained to respond with discernment, trained to grow without abandoning stability. This training will continue to serve you long after the conditions that initiated it have changed. What you are building now is transferable. It will support you in different environments. It will guide you through new challenges. It will anchor you when circumstances shift again. This is why patience matters. Patience allows the training to complete its work. Rushing interrupts integration. Integration ensures longevity. Longevity allows purpose to mature fully, and as this maturity continues to develop, you will find that your life feels less reactive and more responsive, less driven by fear and more guided by clarity, less consumed by urgency and more sustained by alignment. This is not the end of the journey, it is the strengthening of the foundation that will carry you through everything that comes next. As this foundation continues to strengthen, you may begin to recognize that your relationship with uncertainty has transformed into something far more constructive. Uncertainty no longer feels like an enemy to defeat, but like a space where growth quietly takes shape. When uncertainty is no longer resisted, it becomes informative rather than threatening. It reveals where trust is still developing and where alignment is already established. This awareness allows you to engage with the unknown without losing stability. Stability does not eliminate questions. It allows questions to exist without consuming peace. Peace becomes the environment in which answers emerge gradually rather than being forced prematurely. Many people attempt to resolve uncertainty by rushing toward conclusions, but alignment teaches patience. Patience does not delay progress, it refines it. It prevents unnecessary detours. It preserves energy for what truly matters. As patience deepens, you may notice that your ability to tolerate ambiguity improves significantly. You no longer feel compelled to resolve everything immediately. This tolerance is not complacency. It is confidence in process. Process-oriented confidence sustains long-term growth far better than outcome fixation. When focus shifts from outcome to process, effort becomes more intentional and less reactive. Reactive effort often leads to exhaustion. Intentional effort leads to refinement. Refinement improves quality. Quality builds trust. Trust expands opportunity. This sequence unfolds naturally when alignment guides action. You may also observe that your internal dialogue continues to soften. Harsh self-criticism begins to give way to constructive reflection. Reflection invites learning rather than shame. Learning integrates experience into wisdom. Wisdom informs future decisions without repeating past mistakes. This internal evolution is one of the most valuable outcomes of sustained alignment. It creates an internal environment where growth is encouraged rather than punished. Encouragement fosters resilience. Resilience allows recovery without loss of direction. You recover more efficiently now. Setbacks no longer derail momentum entirely. They become adjustments rather than interruptions. This adaptive capacity is essential for sustainable progress. It allows you to remain engaged without becoming overwhelmed. Engagement rooted in alignment feels purposeful rather than draining. Purpose provides meaning. Meaning stabilizes motivation. Motivation guided by meaning persists even when external rewards fluctuate. This persistence is not stubbornness. It is commitment refined by clarity. Commitment does not require constant intensity. It requires consistency. Consistency is strengthened through routine alignment. Small, repeated decisions made in alignment accumulate significant impact over time. You may begin to appreciate the power of these small choices more deeply. They shape habits. Habits shape behavior. Behavior shapes identity. Identity influences destiny gradually but decisively. This chain of influence highlights why alignment at the smallest level matters so deeply. It is not the dramatic moments that define direction most clearly, but the quiet, repeated responses that occur daily. As this awareness grows, you may feel more present in ordinary moments. Ordinary moments no longer feel like obstacles to reach something more meaningful. They become the context in which meaning is built. Presence in these moments allows gratitude to emerge naturally. Gratitude is not forced positivity, it is recognition. Recognition of progress, recognition of growth, recognition of stability earned through endurance. Gratitude reinforces alignment by grounding you in reality rather than projection. Projection pulls attention into fear or fantasy. Reality provides feedback. Feedback supports adjustment. Adjustment improves alignment. This cycle becomes increasingly intuitive. You begin to trust your ability to recalibrate without panic. Panic thrives on unpredictability. Alignment thrives on responsiveness. Responsiveness adapts without losing center. Centered movement remains effective under changing conditions. This effectiveness builds confidence quietly. Confidence does not need to be announced to be felt. It expresses itself through calm decision-making, measured responses, and steady presence. Others may notice this shift before you fully do. They sense composure, they sense reliability, they sense clarity. These qualities attract cooperation rather than resistance. Cooperation reduces friction. Reduced friction allows progress to continue with less effort. This does not mean effort disappears. It means effort is no longer wasted. Wasted effort drains morale. Directed effort builds momentum. Momentum sustained through alignment becomes resilient. It does not collapse under pressure. It adapts, it adjusts, it continues. As this resilience strengthens, you may begin to feel a renewed sense of agency. Agency is the awareness that you can respond effectively to what arises. It is not control, it is capacity. Capacity grows through alignment. It expands as clarity deepens. It supports responsibility without burden. Responsibility carried with capacity feels purposeful rather than heavy. You are learning how to carry what is yours without absorbing what is not. This discernment preserves energy and protects peace. Peace preserved allows creativity, insight, and connection to flourish. Flourishing does not always look dramatic. Often it looks stable. Stability is not stagnation. It is preparation for sustainable expansion. Expansion that does not compromise alignment. Expansion that does not demand self-betrayal. Expansion that respects timing. Timing becomes less of a source of anxiety and more of a guide. You trust that movement will occur when conditions are appropriate. This trust does not lead to passivity, it leads to readiness. Readiness prepares you to act decisively when opportunity appears. Decisive action guided by alignment produces clean outcomes. Clean outcomes reduce regret. Reduced regret strengthens confidence. Confidence supports future action. This reinforcing loop continues to build over time. You're not rushing toward a finish line. You're constructing a way of moving through life that will sustain you across many seasons. This construction requires patience, consistency, and presence. You are practicing all three now. The results may not be immediately visible, but they are accumulating steadily. Alignment is not a moment, it is a method, and you are learning how to live within it. It does not collapse under pressure. It adapts, it adjusts, it continues. As this resilience strengthens, you may begin to feel a renewed sense of agency. Agency is the awareness that you can respond effectively to what arises. It is not control, it is capacity. Capacity grows through alignment. It expands as clarity deepens. It supports responsibility without burden. Responsibility carried with capacity feels purposeful rather than heavy. You are learning how to carry what is yours without absorbing what is not. This discernment preserves energy and protects peace. Peace preserved allows creativity, insight, and connection to flourish. Flourishing does not always look dramatic. Often it looks stable. Stability is not stagnation. It is preparation for sustainable expansion. Expansion that does not compromise alignment. Expansion that does not demand self-betrayal. Expansion that respects timing. Timing becomes less of a source of anxiety and more of a guide. You trust that movement will occur when conditions are appropriate. This trust does not lead to passivity, it leads to readiness. Readiness prepares you to act decisively when opportunity appears. Decisive action guided by alignment produces clean outcomes. Clean outcomes reduce regret. Reduced regret strengthens confidence. Confidence supports future action. This reinforcing loop continues to build over time. You are not rushing toward a finish line. You are constructing a way of moving through life that will sustain you across many seasons. This construction requires patience, consistency, and presence. You are practicing all three now. The results may not be immediately visible, but they are accumulating steadily. Alignment is not a moment, it is a method, and you are learning how to live within it. As this method of alignment becomes more familiar, you may begin to sense that your expectations of yourself are changing in healthy ways. You no longer demand constant performance to feel secure. You no longer equate rest with failure or pauses with regression. Instead, you recognize rhythm. Rhythm allows movement and rest to coexist without conflict. When rhythm is established, progress becomes sustainable. Sustainability protects long-term vision. Vision grounded in alignment does not fluctuate with temporary setbacks. It remains steady, adaptive, and responsive. You may notice that your patience with yourself increases. Mistakes no longer feel catastrophic. They become information. Information guides adjustment. Adjustment refines direction. This process reduces self-judgment and increases self-trust. Self-trust does not eliminate accountability, it strengthens it. When you trust yourself, you take responsibility without collapsing under it. Responsibility carried with trust feels purposeful rather than punitive. This shift alters how you approach goals. Goals become expressions of direction rather than measures of worth. Direction matters more than speed. Speed without direction leads to exhaustion. Direction with measured pace leads to progress that lasts. As this understanding deepens, you may begin to approach challenges with curiosity rather than fear. Curiosity invites exploration. Exploration reveals options. Options increase agency. Agency restores confidence. Confidence reduces anxiety. This chain reaction transforms how obstacles are experienced. Obstacles become part of the process rather than interruptions to it. This perspective preserves momentum even when conditions are imperfect. Imperfection no longer stalls movement, it informs it. You adapt without losing coherence. Coherence allows complexity to be navigated without fragmentation. Fragmentation drains energy. Coherence conserves it. As coherence strengthens, your sense of integrity deepens. Integrity is alignment expressed consistently. It is the agreement between values, decisions, decisions and actions. When integrity is present, internal conflict diminishes. Reduced internal conflict frees attention. Freed attention increases focus. Focus amplifies impact. Impact guided by alignment does not seek validation. It seeks contribution. Contribution creates meaning. Meaning sustains engagement. Engagement rooted in meaning endures beyond motivation cycles. You remain engaged even when enthusiasm fluctuates because commitment is anchored in clarity. Clarity simplifies choices. Simplified choices reduce fatigue. Reduced fatigue supports resilience. Resilience allows continuity. Continuity builds trust over time. Others may begin to rely on your steadiness. Not because you have all the answers, but because you respond consistently. Consistency builds credibility. Credibility opens space for influence. Influence exercised with alignment remains ethical. Ethical influence respects boundaries. Boundaries preserve alignment. This interplay reinforces stability across different areas of life. You may notice that your communication evolves. You speak more deliberately. You listen more attentively. You respond rather than react. This improves understanding. Improved understanding reduces conflict. Reduced conflict preserves energy. Energy preserved can be invested creatively. Creativity thrives when pressure subsides. It allows new perspectives to emerge. New perspectives reveal solutions that urgency often obscures. As solutions appear, confidence in process strengthens further. You trust that clarity will continue to arise as needed. This trust reduces the impulse to over-prepare. Preparation remains important, but it becomes strategic rather than compulsive. Strategic preparation focuses on essentials. Essentials support effectiveness. Effectiveness improves outcomes without excess effort. This efficiency supports balance. Balance sustains engagement. Engagement supports growth. Growth guided by alignment feels integrated rather than fragmented. Integration allows lessons to become part of identity rather than isolated experiences. Identity formed through integration remains flexible yet stable. It adapts without losing coherence. This adaptability is essential for navigating change over time. Change is inevitable. Alignment prepares you to meet it without losing center. You are no longer attempting to control change. You are learning to cooperate with it. Cooperation reduces resistance. Reduced resistance allows flow. Flow enhances performance without strain. Performance aligned with values feels satisfying without being addictive. It does not require constant escalation. It invites depth. Depth strengthens foundation. Foundation supports future expansion. Expansion grounded in alignment does not compromise stability. Stability protects peace. Peace sustains clarity. Clarity guides action. Action expressed consistently shapes trajectory. Trajectory unfolds gradually but decisively. You are not rushing this process, you are inhabiting it. Habitation allows learning to settle deeply. Deep learning transforms behavior. Behavior shapes outcomes. Outcomes reinforce belief. Belief influences future behavior. This reinforcing cycle is now working in your favor. Alignment has shifted the system internally. The effects will continue to surface externally over time. You may not always notice them immediately, but they are accumulating. This accumulation is quiet but powerful. It is building a life that does not depend on constant struggle to remain meaningful. Meaning is now embedded in how you move, how you choose, and how you respond. This is the strength of alignment lived consistently. As this internal system continues to operate in alignment, you may begin to recognize that your relationship with effort, rest, and expectation has entered a healthier balance. Balance does not eliminate ambition, it refines it. Refined ambition is patient without becoming passive. It is focused without becoming rigid. It moves forward without dragging urgency behind every decision. This change allows you to invest energy where it actually produces growth rather than where it simply relieves anxiety. Anxiety often disguises itself as productivity. Alignment exposes this pattern gently. It teaches you the difference between motion that creates progress and motion that merely creates noise. Noise dissipates energy. Progress concentrates it. Concentrated energy builds momentum that does not require constant reinforcement. This momentum feels steady rather than frantic. It allows you to sustain effort over time without depletion. You may notice that your tolerance for silence continues to increase. Silence no longer feels like absence. It feels like space. Space allows integration. Integration allows insight. Insight informs action. Action taken with insight tends to produce cleaner results. Clean results reduce regret. Reduced regret strengthens confidence. Confidence deepens trust. Trust reinforces alignment. This cycle continues to strengthen itself with each iteration. As trust grows, you may find yourself less reactive to external pressure. Pressure still exists, but it no longer determines your internal state. You experience it without absorbing it. This distinction is critical. Absorbed pressure becomes stress. Experienced pressure becomes information. Information can be processed calmly. Calm processing leads to wise adjustment rather than impulsive reaction. Adjustment preserves direction. Direction sustains momentum. Momentum aligned with clarity does not collapse when challenged. It adapts. Adaptation preserves continuity. Continuity allows growth to compound rather than reset. This compounding effect is often underestimated. Small, aligned adjustments made consistently over time produce results that feel disproportionate to the effort invested. This is not coincidence. It is alignment at work. You may begin to feel more comfortable releasing expectations that no longer serve you. Expectations rooted in fear demand constant fulfillment. Expectations rooted in clarity allow flexibility. Flexibility does not weaken standards, it strengthens responsiveness. Responsiveness enables you to engage with reality as it unfolds rather than resisting it. Resistance consumes energy. Engagement channels it. Channeling energy effectively improves outcomes without strain. This efficiency supports emotional regulation. Emotional regulation stabilizes decision-making. Stable decisions protect long-term vision. Vision maintained over time becomes reality gradually. Gradual realization is often more durable than sudden change. Sudden change shocks systems. Gradual change integrates them. Integration ensures longevity. Longevity allows purpose to mature fully. You are no longer chasing transformation. You are inhabiting it. Inhabitation changes behavior. Behavior shapes habits. Habits reinforce identity. Identity guides choices. Choices determine trajectory. Trajectory unfolds consistently when alignment is maintained. This unfolding does not require constant monitoring. It requires presence. Presence anchors you in what is actually happening rather than what you fear might happen. Fear pulls attention forward prematurely. Presence keeps it grounded. Grounded attention improves perception. Improved perception enhances discernment. Discernment guides response. Response expressed consistently reshapes external conditions over time. You may not see immediate results, but you will feel internal coherence increasing. Coherence reduces fragmentation. Reduced fragmentation conserves energy. Conserved energy can be invested intentionally. Intentional investment accelerates meaningful progress. Meaningful progress reinforces commitment. Commitment grounded in alignment remains steady even when motivation fluctuates. This steadiness is becoming part of who you are. It influences how you approach work, relationships, decisions, and rest. You are no longer oscillating between extremes. You are finding center. Centered movement is efficient. Efficient movement sustains clarity. Clarity supports peace. Peace protects alignment. Alignment continues to guide you forward without force. This is not the absence of challenge. It is the presence of capacity. Capacity to respond without losing yourself. Capacity to grow without abandoning stability. Capacity to move forward without carrying unnecessary weight. This capacity will continue to serve you in every season that follows. As this capacity continues to expand, you may begin to notice that your sense of direction feels increasingly internal rather than reactive to external signals. You are no longer waiting for constant confirmation that you are on the right path. The steadiness itself becomes confirmation. This internal reference point changes how you evaluate progress. Progress is no longer measured only by visible milestones, but by consistency maintained, peace preserved, and clarity sustained over time. These measures are quieter, but they are far more reliable. Reliability builds trust in your own process. Trust reduces the impulse to rush. Rushing often introduces errors that later require correction. Alignment minimizes unnecessary correction by guiding action with discernment from the beginning. Discernment improves timing. Timing reduces friction. Reduced friction conserves energy. Conserved energy supports focus. Focus amplifies impact. Impact aligned with values produces fulfillment without depletion. Fulfillment reinforces motivation that is not dependent on external reward. This intrinsic motivation sustains effort through fluctuations in mood, environment, and circumstance. You remain engaged because engagement feels meaningful rather than obligatory. Meaning anchors commitment. Commitment expressed consistently shapes outcomes that endure. As this endurance becomes more familiar, you may notice that setbacks no longer feel personal. They are no longer interpreted as reflections of your worth or competence. They are treated as information. Information guides refinement. Refinement strengthens structure. Stronger structure supports expansion without instability. This approach prevents emotional overinvestment in short-term results. Emotional balance preserves objectivity. Objectivity improves judgment. Improved judgment enhances decision quality. Decision quality compounds over time, influencing trajectory more than isolated moments ever could. You are learning to value trajectory over immediacy. Immediacy demands reaction. Trajectory invites intention. Intention directs energy with purpose. Purpose organizes effort. Organized effort produces coherence. Coherence allows complexity to be navigated without fragmentation. Fragmentation drains momentum. Coherence sustains it. As coherence deepens, you may feel less compelled to explain your choices to others. This is not secrecy, it is confidence. Confidence rooted in alignment does not need constant validation. It expresses itself through calm persistence. Persistence does not resist feedback, it integrates it. Integration refines approach. Refined approach increases effectiveness. Effectiveness reduces wasted effort. Reduced waste supports balance. Balance maintains health across mental, emotional, and relational dimensions. This holistic stability allows you to show up fully without becoming depleted. Depletion often masquerades as dedication. Alignment reveals the difference. True dedication preserves capacity. Preserved capacity enables longevity. Longevity allows purpose to mature through multiple seasons. As maturity develops, your perspective on success continues to evolve. Success becomes less about accumulation and more about integration. Integration of lessons, integration of strength, integration of peace. Integrated success does not collapse under pressure because it is supported internally. You may notice that your sense of urgency continues to diminish, not because goals no longer matter, but because you trust the process that leads to them. Trust transforms effort into contribution. Contribution feels sustainable. Sustainability allows creativity to flourish. Creativity guided by alignment produces solutions that are both effective and ethical. Ethical solutions preserve integrity. Integrity strengthens credibility. Credibility builds influence. Influence exercised with alignment benefits others without compromising self. This reciprocal dynamic reinforces purpose. Purpose experienced in this way does not demand constant affirmation. It is self-validating. As this season progresses, you may find that your attention is drawn less to what is missing and more to what is being built. Building requires patience. Patience protects quality. Quality enhances durability. Durability ensures that what you create will endure beyond immediate circumstances. Endurance is not achieved through force. It is achieved through alignment, maintained over time. You are practicing this maintenance now. Each aligned response reinforces the next. Each moment of clarity strengthens future clarity. Each experience of peace increases trust in peace. This cumulative effect is shaping a way of living that does not rely on constant struggle to feel meaningful. Meaning is now embedded in how you choose, how you act, and how you respond. This embedded meaning stabilizes identity. Stabilized identity supports consistent direction. Consistent direction shapes outcomes gradually but decisively. You may not feel dramatic change from one day to the next, but over time you will recognize how profoundly your movement has shifted. You are no longer being pushed forward by pressure, you are being guided forward by alignment, and that guidance will continue to serve you as conditions change, demands increase, and new opportunities arise. This is not the end of the process, it is the continuation of a way of moving that will carry you through what comes next with clarity, steadiness, and trust. As this journey of alignment reaches its closing moment, it becomes clear that what has unfolded here was never about arriving at a single answer, a single outcome, or a single resolution. It has always been about establishing a way of standing, a way of moving, a way of responding to life that does not depend on constant reassurance, urgency, or struggle. You have been guided through a process that strengthens clarity rather than pressure, trust rather than fear, and steadiness rather than reaction. This foundation is not temporary, it is transferable. It will accompany you beyond this moment into future decisions, future challenges, and future opportunities. You will recognize its presence when pressure returns, but no longer overwhelms you. You will recognize it when uncertainty arises, but no longer destabilizes you. You will recognize it when progress feels quiet, yet undeniably real. This is how alignment reveals itself over time, not through dramatic shifts alone, but through sustained coherence, through consistency, through peace that remains even when circumstances fluctuate. As you move forward, remember that growth does not always announce itself loudly. Often it settles silently. Often it strengthens beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. Trust this process. Trust the clarity that has begun to take shape. Trust the stability that no longer requires explanation. What you are building now is not fragile. It has been tempered by endurance, refined through discernment, and stabilized through alignment. This does not mean challenges will disappear. It means you are no longer defined by them. You are prepared to meet what comes next without abandoning yourself, without rushing ahead of clarity, and without carrying unnecessary weight. As you continue your journey, allow what you have integrated here to guide you gently. Let it inform your decisions. Let it shape your responses. Let it remind you that progress rooted in alignment does not demand sacrifice of peace. It protects it. And if you feel drawn to continue exploring these themes of clarity, purpose, and steady transformation, there are other reflections waiting for you here. Other messages that build upon this foundation, other moments designed to support you as you move forward. Take what resonates, return when you need grounding, and continue walking this path with patience, presence, and trust. The process is still unfolding, and you are equipped to walk through it with confidence, clarity, and alignment.